you die.
Alright, so we just listened through Architect's new album, The Classic Symptoms of a Broken Spirit. Now we're going to talk about it a little bit. I'll give you a little track breakdown, some initial thoughts and stuff, and then we'll go in a little deeper dive with Jordan, and then go to our ratings. Alright, I have very mixed feelings about this. I will say for a good majority of it, I want to say maybe like 60%, I didn't care at all. Maybe a little bit more than that. I think there was like a good like 30 to 40% of this album that was like fairly decent. You know, there was actual breakdowns in this album. They were very simplistic, very muted, very radio-ish, but they were actual breakdowns. They weren't fake downs, so I will give them points for that. They didn't just do the build up to a breakdown and then just, you know, squander that. I think they actually still remember how to write breakdowns, so bonus points for that. So here, let me go through some track stuff, and then I'll talk about the overall album. So all right, you start off with Deep Fake, which is you get some nice electronics. There's electronics all throughout the whole album. You'll notice that there's some nice subtleties in there, some nice again, like electronic EDM style mixing in with certain tracks and stuff. It's a nice little accompaniment, but also, you know, it's a very common thing these days. It's a lot of bands use it. They don't really make it a focus. It's just kind of like in the background, and you know, there's an actual like decent breakdown in the first track as well. But you know, again, with it being a breakdown, this first track is the one where he does the weird, like, it makes sense from the video. I don't, maybe in the album version it's different, but in the music video, he steps away from the mic and screams. So in what we heard, he that's what you hear. You hear a dude like in the background screaming, and you're just like, why is he screaming over there, screaming here in front of the mic? Do that in part of the song. I don't know what kind of creative choice that was. Like, it's a very big tease. Like, it's like, what was the point of that? I don't get it. Tear Gas is they're more hype song, I guess. They're more like not hype song. It's one of their major singles. Is you know, there's some actual decent riffs in here. There's some decent riffs throughout the whole album. They're just not enough. There's another breakdown in here, and they've got the little cymbal right at the end of that. So you know, again, there's some nice moments in this album. Spit the Bone, very radio play song. There's a lot of those here. That's the one where he does the bleh randomly. It's like not even in the breakdown. He's just like, remember to spit out. It's like you're just doing it to like piss people off at this point. Like, you know, oh, they want the bleh. I gotta put it in there somewhere. Burn Down My House. That one is the super slow, very low tempo poppy jam. In my opinion, weakest song on the album. It's too long. It's like 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Just cut that shit off. Just delete that song off the record, and you'd probably get another point for me, to be honest. Living Is Killing Us. It's okay song. I have this here a lot. There's several songs on here where I'm just like, it's okay song. It's a basic song. Like, that's a lot of what is here. Like, there's just really nothing to say about it. Like, there's just play some instruments and you do some stuff. I don't know. Anyways, it's an okay song. There's a little breakdown. Again, very simplistic, just kind of little, you know, bam, dun, 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 bam. You know, they do that a lot. When We Were Young, that one is another one of their first singles for this album. That's the one where I really like the verse. The verse, they pick it up, you know, it's got the 2-step beat. It's very fast paced. You're like, yeah. And then they just go into the fucking chorus where he's just doing the, which is like 90% of the choruses on this fucking album. That's a big downfall to it. Doom Scrolling, another just basic radio song, very basic lyrics, which the lyrics are kind of like that throughout the whole. I didn't read all of them. I read it for that one. Once I realized they were in the description, it was just like, drowning in the ocean, blah blah blah, usual lyrics. Born Again Pessimist, again, basic radio song, little breakdown. That's what I wrote. Just another fucking one of those songs. New Moral Low Ground. This one's one of my favorite on the album. That's the one where it starts off really fast. It's got some nice riffing in there. There's that weird solo at the end. It's very like screechy. There's like some kind of weird filter over it. Like I couldn't tell if it was like, it's like mixed with like vocals or something. There's something weird about it. I'd have to like go in and listen to it again. But it's cool because it's like a different part of the album. It sets itself apart. They didn't do that enough. And I think that's the one that stood out for me, was that track. All the Love is their big whoa whoa song. Again, little heavy part at the end. There's a lot of little heavy parts, but I give them points for it. I give them points for at least putting some little heavy parts in there, even though they were basic and muted as shit, they were still there. And then Be Very Afraid is like the big fucking fuck you, in my opinion, because it's like it's a good song. Like it's like, it starts off, the dude's like riffing his ass off. There's fucking harsh vocals. There's like background harsh vocals. There's a fucking full ass breakdown that they circle back to the breakdown. It's like Old Architects. It sounds like Old Architects, and you're just like, why didn't you just do that for the whole fucking album? Why is that your last song to just like, you're just like, wow, I sat through this to get that one good song? Oh, come on. That's why they put that shit last too. If they put it first, you'd be like, where's it at? Where's it at? What happened? So yeah, it's just, I'd say the vocals are the weakest point of this album. Sam, he's just, I don't know. The choruses are just all very, like, the hooks just don't, the hooks just don't hook. They're just, they sound all the same, and it's just, basic, that's it, and it just keeps doing it every song, and they do three choruses every song. There's just too much of it. And he doesn't really do the harsh vocals. I don't even think that's him. I think that's like one of the guitarists or something on that last track. I don't know. But like if he would just do a little bit more with his, like he's not harsh. He's not exactly harsh vocals. It's not exactly clean. It's just like that middle, throaty shit. And it's just like, that's all he does. The guitar tone is weird here. It's got that, like I said, North Lane fuzz, very muted, very, it's just not like crunchy enough for me.
Sounds like a synth.
Yeah, it's very strange. And they clear it up. There's a couple songs in here where they're like, it does the fuzz thing for the whole song, and then they clear it up at the end, and it's like, why? I just want that more. If they just quit doing that shit, just like North Lane, the songs would just sound, I don't understand that artistic choice. I guess it just makes it more palatable for some people. But when you do that with the vocals already, I don't think you need to do that with the instruments too. But okay. The drums, I think the drums were actually fairly decent here. There was some nice play around. There's some nice cymbal work and stuff. Nothing too extraordinary, but just like enough that I think it works for them. So I did like the drums on this. Again, super basic breakdowns, but I give them points for at least having them on there, not having fake downs. They stand out than some other bands that are similar to this, in the sea of bands that devolved into radio play stadium style stuff. They kept their breakdowns at least. Oh yeah, okay. I think the problem is like the standout moments are when they do their faster parts, like when they do the two-step beats and they pick it up, and it gets like some energy going. They actually like sound good. But there's like 2 parts in the whole album where they do that. It's all like mid-tempo, kind of like how I felt about, Devil Wears Prada. It's like there's just not enough energy here. And they have the potential for it. It's there. It's really there. They just don't use it, and I just don't get it. But those are like the most standout moments. If they would just do that more, I think it would work out so much more for them. And again, that it's so weird that they just put that really decent song at the end. I feel like if maybe they cut out 2 songs on here, cut out a couple choruses, like instead of coming back to the choruses after the breakdowns, I think this would it would really tighten up and honestly not be a bad album if they just like tighten it up some more. I think it has potential. It's better than some other shit I've heard this year. I will say that for sure. So I'm sure some Architects fans, by the time I posted this, they've probably already turned the video off. But I did like I said, I like 40% of this, like in a good way. Did I have anything else on here? Yeah. Basically, to sum it up, like I don't exactly like this album as a whole. There are some songs that I do like. But I also can see the market for it. I understand what they're shooting for. Definitely not really for me, but I get it. So I don't know. Jordan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, like you said, there's maybe about, I'd say even less for me. I'd say there's about maybe 30% of this that I liked. 70% of it is just really throwaway. It's all the same. It all has the same drum beat with the same strumming guitar chords and the same synth over every
Devil Wears
song.
Prada.
And it's like, just take the guitarist's other band, Silosis, right? Where he's like playing, like he's the singer and the guitarist, where he's like singing and screaming, playing solos and riffs and playing the guitar at the same time. And then you have him in this band where he's like playing the same chords over the same like basic beats. And it's like, this person and the rest of this band, they have the talent to make interesting music. They have the talent to make music that's catchy, but they don't take those two things and they don't use them at all. They go for the very simple, like, chord progressions and stuff just because, like, I don't know, maybe because it's easier and it's just like easier for people to digest. But like, time and time again, we've listened to some stuff on here like Bad Wolves where it's like, it's very radio, but like,
Yeah,
they still throw in those things and those riffs and like the heavy parts like underneath the poppy like chorusy stuff, and it works. But like, they just don't, like, they choose not to like put anything like else into it. Like, I don't know why they think that like just doing the same song over and over is gonna be able to like get them through it, because like, whenever literally 70% of this album is like all the same, it's like it's you kind of wonder, like, how long did they take to do this? Like, it kind of seems like it didn't really take too much thought at all, like,
yeah,
especially with their lyrics and like how like the album, it really doesn't feel like an album. It just kind of feels like, and like the same song over and over again. There's no like, other than like maybe 1 or 2 songs, there's no like work put in to make it feel like a complete album with like, a through line and it doesn't have to be like a concept album or anything like that, like, but like, you can still find a way to make the album as a whole feel enjoyable and not just a whole collection of the same 2 songs basically. And it's like, I don't know, man, like, I understand that this type of music can get you very far, but it's like, whenever you're playing the same song over and over again, are you really like writing music, or are you just writing like, what sounds good? And like, it's basically like you're just making like a cliche instead of like an actual song. It's like, the whole like
Yeah, you're just
lyrical
playing into a
content
formula.
is yeah, because it's easy and because you have it figured out, and it's like that's not sustainable. I really don't feel like, and it's like, I mean, me and you, just between me and you, like we've liked like past Architect stuff, and we like stuff that's kind of like this, but like what for whatever reason, this itself, it just like it doesn't meld together, and I feel like they could have done a little bit more to, you know, maybe bridge the gap between the two styles and have a hybrid between the two and have like be able to have the best of both worlds and have the fans say, oh, I can see where they're coming from and where they're going, and like, see point A and point B, but like whenever you're going from point Z to point X, like from A and B, it's like, where did this come from? Like this sounds nothing like any of the other stuff, and it's like it's the same with, like the synth. Like where did the synth come from? They never really had like a big synth presence. It's like
Yeah,
now it's just here, but now it feels like it's just there to be there. It's like
because
it doesn't
everyone else
fit
is
with.
doing it. Everyone else has a fucking, like, you know, Devil Wears Prada and Bring Me the Horizon, the other bands that are in this kind of like genre. They're like, you know, it's everyone's got a synth these days. They just don't do it. It's kind of like with the other instrumentals, or with the guitar and kind of the vocals. They just don't do, like, you know, just don't do a lot with it, you know.
Yeah, and like even going back to like Under Oath. Under Oath is like the new album is very similar to this, but like there's still like you can tell it's Under Oath, and this just sounds like every other band, and it sounds like Bring Me the Horizon, and it sounds like Linkin Park, and it sounds like this band and this band and this band. It's like
Yeah,
at one point this band sounded like Architects, and like they sounded like really no one else because they knew how to like still play into like the kind of cliche metalcore thing and like the mathcore stuff, but like if you're able to come up with these things and like these crazy compositions and have all this knowledge and talent and you're just not using it, it's like you can definitely feel it, and it really sucks because
yeah.
you know I used to love this band, and it's like, you know,
The only reason you can
I
tell
don't want to listen to it.
it's Architects is because Sam has a very distinct voice. Like you hear his voice, you're like, oh, that's the Sam from Architects. Like, you know.
Yeah, and that's all it's got going for it, but
Yeah.
like
And don't forget,
instrumental, like,
he had the Yellow Jacket with Spirit Box. You know, he had that whole song, which he did basically the whole. It was basically just him doing vocals in that song, and it was fucking
yeah.
great. Like, wild when you could be on like one of the best albums like written and go back to your own music, and you're just like, eh.
Yeah, like I don't know. And it's like instrumentally, like it feels like they're just like doing it because it's easy, and I don't like that. Like music shouldn't really be easy. It should be like challenging, and you should always be pushing your band, and you should always be trying to push the genre in a different direction. But like if you're just staying here and doing the same thing over and over, you're not really progressing. You're not really evolving, and you know that's like the basic trait of humans is like to evolve and like change and become something new, but like I don't know, man. And I feel like maybe they could have been trying to go for like, you know, having every song sound the same just so they can say, oh well, that's an album, you know. The album, it's supposed to sound similar throughout, but like I feel like a lot of other bands, they can really push the songwriting to where they're actually, you know, making new sounds and like interesting things and like changing it up here and then. And it's like they do on this album, but like it's very, very little between those points that it's like, oh wow, like I like this song, but the next song that I like is like 5 songs later. It's like, well, where's the
Yeah.
rest? Like,
Like I'm like still like learning guitar, you know, and like there were moments in here listening to this where I was like, I could play that. Like it was very just super simple stuff, you know, like it just wasn't. I don't know why. Like Architects has always had that little, you know, technicality to them, and there just wasn't that.
like I said,
you know?
there's a lot of bands to where like you can see the progression from point A to point B, but like here it's like going from A to B to like X to Y, and it's like, what? Like there's no through line whatsoever. There's like no attempt to like bring over the old fans and like have things that the old fans are gonna like. But I guess, oh, they really don't care about having old fans and the fans that are all 18 and angry still. It's like, and it's like, I feel like they really do it on purpose just to piss you off. Like same thing with the Parkway Drive
Like
album.
Parkway Drive, yeah. Yeah, you're not
Like,
doing it right if you're not pissing someone off.
Like, no, that's not how it works. Like, if you're doing it right, then you're gonna have different types of people and a whole different groups of people who can agree that it's good music. But whenever like literally half of your fan base says this is garbage, and then literally half of it says, oh, this is great, it's like, well, you could have had like 80-20, but
Yeah.
you don't want to put in the effort. It really pisses me off.
So, are you ready for rating then?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm probably gonna rate this higher than you might think. But I don't know. We'll see where you're at. So Jordan, what would you rate this?
I'm gonna give it a 6.
Okay.
There's definitely like, you can see that there was a little bit of effort to like kind of change it up, but like when it's literally like 2 songs out of 11 songs, it's like there's really like,
yeah,
I don't know. There definitely could be more. But like I did like, whenever they did pick it up and whenever they did have energy,
yeah,
and whenever they did throw in the riffs and stuff, I actually like the synth, even though it's like very samey throughout the album. Like it's interesting and it kind of like fills out the sound. But
yeah.
like,
It's more of kind of just background, like bass is kind of like what it is more than anything.
Yeah.
What they use it for. Yeah, I mean, so it's funny because that's what I was thinking. I was thinking a 6. I was thinking a 6, and then you started talking about it. I was like, oh shit, maybe I should go with a 5. But then you said 6, so I'll give it a 6 too. Yeah, basically, like they still have the potential here. They have good moments. There's not a lot of them. There's not a lot,
Yeah.
but there's enough in there where you're like, I okay, I get it, and I could definitely put like a song or two. I could put like at least 2 of these songs, maybe 3 on here. It could have been if they would just cut out the shit of doing the fucking wraparound, two fucking choruses and then a breakdown, and then you go back to the 3rd chorus. Stop doing that. It just
At least stop doing it on every song, because whenever you do it on every song, it gets very
and then you
grating.
expect it, and you expect it too. And it makes the songs longer. It makes the album longer. It just just tighten that shit up. If you just did that,
cut it out.
Yeah, three. There's like 3 songs I would listen to again. Like I said, the which ones? New Moral Low Ground. That was the good one with like the riffs and the solo. The arguably the most interesting song on the album, aside from Be Very Afraid, the last song, which had like the harsh vocals in the background, the breakdown that they came back to, and then like Tear Gas was okay, had some decent riffs and decent breakdown. Those were like the 3 I would listen to again. When We Were Young like has the good verses, but then they just ruin it with that the usual Architects chorus. But yeah. So 6 out of 10. You know, I think, you know, on my scale, a 6 is like a C. You know, okay. I'm gonna say this is like a low C, but still, I think a C is a pretty good for this like style. You know, I like Parkway Drive. I gave a 4. I think Jordan gave it like a 3. I don't remember what we gave Devil Wears Prada. Do you remember what we gave Devil Wears Prada? It might have been a 6 too. It might have been a 6.
That one a 3, and I gave Parkway
really?
Drive a 4.
I think you rated it lower than Parkway Drive. That's right. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I don't think I did. I think it was like a 5 or a 6. I don't remember. But yeah, so 6 out of 10. You know, it's we're gonna get a lot of shit from Architects fans, but you know, I think, like I said, I liked some of it. Okay, I didn't hate the whole thing like other bands.